All right, hello everybody. This is a Demo Friday for the OSS team. This is June week 1, and here we've got Devin to start off the demo.
Great, let me go ahead and present a window here. Are you guys able to see the screen?
Mm-hmm.
Great. So this is, I'm going to show off some CSV parsing, how I'm imagining we can keep the overall number of methods in the interface small, but still provide the users a lot of configurability. So there's a new configuration object, tentatively named CSV specs right now, to create the default CSV specs, which will parse the CSV to a comma-separated value file. It will assume there's a header. It will infer some basic data types. That's what this means right here. .of is just the default for the configuration. And you can go ahead and parse that into a table. Right here, I'm using some URLs from some of our example repos. So this is the metric century ride that Mike did. And as you can see, here it is all parsed out. It's figured out that distance meters is a double. And based on the way I'm inferring right now, things are either Booleans, strings, longs, or doubles. And so here we've got a double. It's figured out that cadence is a long, and so on and so forth. And so there's that. Now let's say you want to, here's just another example. Here's some a De Niro data set that I saw was uploaded recently, and it's just a different format. There are some issues with my parsing right now, and I think it's the library I'm using where it's not getting rid of some of the quotes, but it's still parsing. Let's get to a case that's not the default here. So in this case, let's say we wanted to parse a headerless file, so it didn't have year, score, and title as the CSV. What you'd do is you'd configure this object. Instead of grabbing the default, you'd build up a specific configuration for what you needed. So in this case, we're using all the defaults, except we're saying has header row is false. So we're saying treat the first row as a data row and give us some basic column name. So if we ran this, what we'd get is this, the same data, but instead of pretty named columns, we'd column 0, column 1, and column 2. Now let's say that we actually wanted to provide this header ourselves, since this file isn't providing it. What we could do is we could go ahead and define a header right here. So it's an integer year, an integer score, and a string title. And then we could do that same thing we did before, except additionally we're passing in the header, the De Niro header here. I've also gone ahead and set trim equal to true, and that gets rid of any white space around the values during the parsing stage. And if you go ahead and run that, then you'll see we get back to our pretty format, and we've got an integer here, and a string here. Now let's say we wanted to parse something that was like a CSV, but not comma separated, like a tab separated value here. And so we've got one of those right here. You go ahead and change the delimiter. We might as well use the header since we have it, even though this file has a header. And we'll go ahead and just trim it true. And then you'll see we get similar results out here. And then here's just a different one. There was also one done with pipes. And so if you go ahead and run that with the pipe delimiter, you get these values out. So that's kind of how I'm imagining configuring CSV parsing values.
All right. Looks pretty clean. All right, cool. Who's next? Nate?
Just sharing my screen. Okay, so if you like using Groovy, this is particularly important for you. So soon after I merge this particular pull request, to use Groovy, you're going to have to modify your Docker compose to add basically an environment file that plumbs the fact that you want Groovy all the way through Docker.
Hey, Nate, your microphone's a little fuzzy. Are you using the right one? That's not.
Yes.
It just sounds like
Sorry.
you're rubbing it or something. But anyway, keep going.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe my arm was on the microphone.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, so basically, if you care about Groovy, you're going to want to add this end file to your path, and it simply just tells, it uses an environment variable to pass through to it that you want to use Groovy. I have this running right now, and the way that this looks is when you start up, you actually get a warning because by default it tries to load up the Python console. I don't know why that's. I mean, hard to refresh it. Come on. There we go. So when this comes up, basically it gives a little error saying, "Oh, the session type Python is disabled. Use the more actions icon to swap to Groovy." So that's this button right here. If you ignored it and you ran something anyways, it just says unsupported operation because it's not actually a Python script session. It's not even a real script session. It's just something to help temporarily to work with the UI. And then you switch over to Groovy, and then it works like normal Groovy. So,
Okay. Cool.
Let me create the thing, and then the other thing I'm going to show is basically the improvement on the gRPT API, or sorry, on the C++ part of the API. So now I can create a session across, through our session API, and then I can go and fetch. I'm also fetching like the export notifications. So just wanted to show that off as well.
All right. Very cool. So yeah, there's the export notifications. Okay, cool. I think next we have Colin.
Sure.
And then James, get ready to be after Colin. Yeah.
I am not being permitted to share my screen. Oh, wait, I'm dumb. Sorry. There we go.
There we go.
Can everybody see that?
Yep.
Okay, so plots are working. Following vendor suggestion, making a quick timetable that has a sign function in it, and then say, okay, let's try and draw that. Let's see, I had to get spelling right a few times here, so let's make sure I got it right. There we go. That's the one I want. So saying I want to call plotting convenience.plot. Normally this is statically imported automatically, so you've just got the plot function available to you. But at some point this was removed, and I haven't restored it yet. So here's our plot. For the first bunch of values, they're going to be pretty close together. They are slowly going to diverge. Data is ticking in properly. This is all using Barrage. When data ticks into the table, it also ticks into the plot. And adding more lines is also easy. The next one that I have added is to say, okay, now make a second table. The second table is just adding one extra column so that we can have also cosine running at the same time. And it's the same table for all the time it's been ticking so far. I didn't restart that. This feels a little anticlimactic because it already was working in Enterprise. It's just all the work it's taken to get to this point to work in open source. And we can see that they are, oops, that's not the move button. They are kind of going tick-tock because one table is updating before the other in terms of when the data gets to the client because they are separate tables. Typically, you just make them all one table because it really would be one table, and then they'll update together automatically.
Exciting. That's great to have plotting working on the OSS side. I'm glad to see it. All right.
It's going to be a little while before it merges. It's going to be at least 3, maybe more merges before this all gets landed.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, James.
All right. So yeah, I got some autocomplete goodness to share with everybody. So we'll start off with our nice sample string from the docs. And this one here is just using the existing new table API. And if we see here where department ID equals, wait a second, there we go. There's department ID, and there is everybody. It's doing static analysis to figure this out. So when my cursor is in this string, it says, oh, I'm in this where method. This where method is on this table. This table is defined here. This table is assigned to new table, and new table has these magic method names for string column, in column, and this other one. And they have a nice name string in here that I can statically analyze. So that's how that piece of autocomplete works. Now, it doesn't like that I just ran code that was broken. So let's try that again. It's not broken code. Once the entire script has been run, now we have in memory the left, right, and t variable. So now I can type right dot, whatever, get my methods back, get some tables out of there. And you can see, right has department ID, department name, and telephone, where left has the different set of column names. And so all the existing autocomplete that we have going on now is the same as the enterprise as far as what inference can be done once we find out something is a table. The work has begun on improving, making joins smarter about knowing what's valid and, which positional argument. But right now, work is kind of paused a little bit to take a little better care of Python, because Python I do not understand Python imports leading to more methods being available, or things like Python classes. And so what Ryan had mentioned earlier, I'm building what I'm calling the Inference Engine, which is going to take this entire AST of code, parse the whole guy, and when it analyzes a piece where it does this whole, this method belongs to this this object is defined by this, all of these things, caching them, putting them into the nodes themselves so that we can do really smart things once we know something's of a given type, or once you know a table is of a given structure, we'll be able to use that knowledge easily, whereas right now it's kind of call recursive methods, which is not great. So that's about it as far as user visible features for me goes for today. So
perfect. I'm excited to use autocomplete. I know that.
Yeah, right.
I miss it. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. All right. Who else has any demos for today? The Chip, did you want to show?
Yeah, I can do a few.
Okay. Yeah. And Jiangfeng as well. Okay. Let's start with Chip.
All right, so here I just have the core project README. If you scroll down to the bottom here, you have our docs. So quite a few merges have gone into this recently. So for table operations, we have filter, join, select, and sort. Under each of these, you can see we have a lot of things you can go in. We document all of the inputs. We have examples for everything. So there's a lot of material there. If you try it out, give us some feedback. Let's see. All right. In addition to that, we have how-tos and tutorials. So if you want to get somebody started using CSV, there's some examples in here, so people can actually use the product now. Additionally, we have Deephaven examples repo, and in this we've been placing data for existing examples and for new things that'll get added. If you go down here to install instructions, there's a Docker process for downloading this to where your image can actually use it.
Okay. Sweet. So that's pretty cool because getting example data in easily is pretty nice.
Yeah, you can also do like Devin was doing and pull stuff with URLs. So you've got options, and the example repo we can version our examples just so that we can maintain consistency.
Okay. Cool. All right. How about Jiangfeng?
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. So this is just a continuation of make Numba integration more user-friendly, in the Python environment. So you guys can see my screen, okay, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So what I have here is 3 queries, but this time I'm using Numba functions in the filters, and you can see here that it is the same way as we use any plain Python function. So we don't need some our own syntax to do this. And let me just run this. And this is a kind of a performance test. Oh, what's going on? Let me do this. I have just rebuilt it. So, yeah, sorry. So the first time you run it, Numba will take some time to compile it down to C. And the second time we run this guy, it'll be much faster. Let me see it's almost close to the performance we can get with our built-in Java evaluation. Yeah.
Right on.
So,
we got the benchmarks to back it up.
Yeah.
Right on. Cool. All right. Anything else? Go ahead. That's it? Okay.
No,
We could do the same thing we did last time and make it a little more challenging and have Numba beat Java, I bet, too.
I doubt
nice.
it will ever, yeah.
No, you did on the update functions.
But that's still close. I mean,
It was very close. Yes.
Yeah, very close. Yeah. This
it's,
one,
it's a fair comparison, regardless.
Yeah, this one, the native Java definitely is faster.
Yep. All right. Anybody else have any demos for this week? All right. Then that's it for the demo. All right. Thanks, guys.